This is Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shake it,
Wake your punk ass up. That crust out your eyes.
It's First Aid with Kelly Kinkaid.
All right, 15 minutes into the hour, Sway in the Morning, Shade 4-5. You know we love to do this segment here to give you guys an opportunity to hear information that may improve the quality of life for you spiritually, physically, as well as mentally.
Yes.
A lot of the people who listen to this show have different ailments that trouble them, and if either through family members or themselves, you know. And we like to bring up this information to help you out with Kelly Kinkaid.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show, Kelly Kinkaid.
Good morning. Good morning.
So what are we talking about today?
You know, Sway, all this month of October, you may see people with a lot of pink on. Football teams.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of walks in awareness for breast cancer. So today is the last day of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I wanted to bring in someone special, the executive director of the Susan Komen Foundation, to talk about breast cancer, because even though this is the last day of October, this cause and mission to find a cure is going to continue. And I wanted to welcome Linda Tantawi. Good morning.
Hey, Linda.
Morning.
How you doing? You came in today with us.
I've no problem at all. It's great to be here. Great to talk about breast cancer with your listeners, and thrilled to speak with Kelly. It's going to be great.
Yes.
Right.
So a lot of people close in their family or friends have had people who have died or have gone through this whole cancer phase of going through chemotherapy. What are some statistics of this for men and women?
Well, 1 in 8 women in the United States will get breast cancer in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest risk for breast cancer is being a woman and getting older. Men do get breast cancer, but it's really very rare. Women really need to know that it can happen to them. It can happen to anyone, and they need to get checked. We need to keep saying to ourselves, knowledge is power. Women, every month, they get their hair done, they get their nails done, they do this, they do that. They should cancel one of those appointments every year and go and get their mammogram.
This is true. This is true.
At what age? Because I know young ladies who were diagnosed with breast cancer in college.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that doesn't seem typical. And when you hear it, you feel like it's tragic, but it happens a lot.
It does happen. And the greatest risk for young women is that oftentimes physicians don't believe that there could possibly be breast cancer in a very young woman. So that's why women have to know their own bodies. Women should check their own bodies and be aware of what's normal for them. Generally speaking, a woman gets her first mammogram at age 40.
Mm-hmm.
However, if there is a history of breast cancer in your family, then you should discuss with your physician at what age you should begin to get a mammogram. The difficulty for young women is breast tissue is very dense.
Mm-hmm.
And in a mammogram, what will show up is white, just a big white film, because the breast tissue is so dense, and the cancer that they're looking for is also white. So it's like trying to find a snowball in a mound of snow, which is why the clinical breast exam becomes very important. So women after age 20 should get a clinical breast exam every year or every 2 years.
You know, I am a woman with breast, and I have to get
Yes,
mammograms.
you are, Kelly Kinkaid. Yes,
And
you are.
you know what I found? I had a scare the first time I took a mammogram because they said women of color, our breasts are we have more tissue and lumps and stuff, and so self-examinations are very important. And for women out there, I've always been told after your menstrual cycle
Correct.
to do the self-awareness test. And it's very important because it's a scary thing. And I think that a lot of women are scared to go get a mammogram, even if they're under 40. But it's very important now because, like Sway said, women in their 20s, and even I've seen stories in their teens, 18, 19, getting this. And the sad thing is when they catch it too late.
That is the worst of all, which is why we say know what's normal for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a history of breast cancer, discuss with your physician at what age you should begin getting regular mammograms, regular screenings. Cancer that's caught early has a 98% survival rate, and that is what women need to know. When caught late, stage 3, stage 4, it's terrible, very difficult to treat. It becomes metastatic, and that can become something that can be deadly. So that's why we say get checked.
If you have any questions to the citizens tuned in right now, you may know someone who has breast cancer, or maybe it's even yourself. and you have any questions, give us a call, 888-742-3345. And Linda, I would love for you to tell us, how can a woman check for herself to see if she has lumps and maybe could have breast cancer herself? Okay, that's Sway in the Morning, Shade 45. All right, 22 minutes into the hour, Sway in the Morning, Shade 45.
Yes. We have Linda Tantawi here, the executive director of the Susan Komen Foundation, and we're talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay. I want to take a few calls, and then maybe we can give some more statistics.
Yes.
And we got Dan from the British Columbia on the line. Dan, excuse me, is that Shannon or Dan?
Shannon.
Okay, let's go with Shannon first. She's from Baltimore. Good morning. How you doing, Shannon?
Good morning.
I'm good. How are you guys this morning?
Doing
morning.
okay.
I'm really glad you guys are talking about this. There's a lot of young people who aren't really aware that it's very good to go early. I'm fourth-generation breast cancer survivor. I found out when I was 19 years old. I had a mass in my right breast. I was scared to go get tested. I'm like, I'm too young to go get tested, too young. And my grandmother kept saying, too young means you need to be smart and go get tested early. I went 2 days before my 19th birthday, and they found a mass. They did a biopsy, and I actually had breast cancer, which they found it early, so they were able to cut into the tissue and remove the mass. And one of my breasts is just smaller than the other. Like, I still have both of my breasts.
Mm-hmm.
But just by me being able to be proactive and listen to our elders like we're supposed to do, I was able to go and get all the treatment that I needed to get done.
You know, let me ask you something, Linda, because a lot of women, sometimes the whole breast is removed, right? Or
Yes.
even both in this case. And they some women go through image issues because of the change of the body. Is there some type of therapy that they take them through as well before they have this type of operation?
Well, a lot of women do choose some kind of talk therapy, one-on-one, as well as group support in order to deal with the changes in their bodies.
Yeah.
And certainly now there are a lot of options for reconstruction that that women really are very satisfied with at the end. And women really overall, they're choosing life. They're choosing life over their breasts, and that's the best decision.
Shannon, what about you? Did it bother you at all that one breast is smaller than the other?
At first, it was a really self-conscious thing because I was an F cup before it happened. So it was a self-conscious thing because I like that's one of my axis of my body that I really like.
Wait, hold up.
So
Shannon, did you say you were an F cup?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm not going to crack a joke in this subject. Go ahead.
So it was
Yeah.
it was a self-conscious thing, and I mean, I didn't want to really date, or I felt funny taking off my clothes because you could see the scar.
Yeah.
It was really a self-conscious thing, and to be so young, it's like you get all this stuff around about images, and you're supposed to look a certain way. It really does something to your confidence level.
Yeah.
When you go through something like that, not just by you being a cancer survivor so young, but when you look at everything you have, the stereotypes around you, it really does hurt sometimes to just okay, I can't wear this shirt because it really shows. It really didn't show, but in my whole mind of minds, that's what I'm thinking. You couldn't really tell, but I could tell.
You know what? Thank you for sharing your story, Shannon. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being so open and honest. And in one sense, I want to ask you, Linda, if a person has surgery and they cut around the tissue or they cut it out, what is the possibility of it returning?
There's always that possibility. And any woman who's had a lumpectomy, which is what Shannon had, does need to be continually vigilant and see her doctor probably several times a year in order to get checked.
Breast cancer affects everyone, not just the person who has it. And a lot of times the men in the family, which you said is rare that a man might have breast cancer, but they still live through the experience with the women in the family. Dan is from the British Columbia. You said cancer runs in your family with the women?
No. So in my girlfriend's family.
Oh,
She's
your
20
girlfriend.
years old, and I remember you saying about the mammogram and the clinical exam.
Yeah.
And you said different ages, that the clinical exam is done around 20 and the mammogram was done at around 40. I was just wondering if you could tell me the difference between the two because my girlfriend's really scared and I kind of wanted to support her and, maybe just go to the clinic with her, and I just want to be able to tell her the difference between the two.
Sure. Well, the clinical breast exam is done in the doctor's office just by the physician feeling the woman's breast in a manner in which to detect changes, detect possible lumps or calcifications. The mammogram is an X-ray that's done using a mammogram machine where the breast is actually imaged. It's actually flattened in between two, I don't even know what to call it, two things.
Plates.
Plates. Thank you.
Yeah.
2 plates that then checks for changes in the breast using radiation, using an X-ray.
You know, Linda, we were talking, Shannon was talking about, she was 19, and we were also talking about in the African-American women, the rates of death are higher. Mm-hmm. Are there ways to reduce this for women of African-American background and just women, period?
Well, there's a couple of things. So for the caller's girlfriend, if she has that kind of a history of breast cancer or ovarian cancer in her family, she should consider getting a test for the genes called BRCA1, BRCA2 to see which is what Angelina Jolie had.
Right.
So if you have that type of gene, then you would consider with your physician what your next steps might be.
Okay.
And then if she does not have that gene, but a strong history of breast cancer, she needs to go every year for a clinical breast exam. Again, mammograms don't work for young women because of the density of the breast. Cancers don't show up, which is why they would use a clinical breast exam and possibly an ultrasound or an MRI, depending on her history. Now, in terms of women reducing their risk of breast cancer, is first of all, we all need to eat right, reduce the amount of red meat, reduce the amount of salted meats that we eat, barbecue, reduce the amount of barbecue that we eat, maintaining our weight. One of the biggest, or one of the risk factors is excessive weight gain after menopause, but also just an escalation in weight throughout your life. Alcohol. You should not. No one should drink so much. That's for women. That's just a fact. And anything more than really 1 drink a day is considered to be too much and is a risk factor for breast cancer.
1 drink a day.
And exercise. I saw a recent study where if you exercise vigorously, I think it was 3 to 4 times a week, that had the same effect on reducing your risk of breast cancer as tamoxifen, which is a drug.
Wow.
So exercise, eat right. It's actually pretty simple. It's what all the doctors say about maintaining your health throughout your life.
You know, is there is there a lot of people on the line right now that have a ton of questions, and unfortunately, our time is short here. But how can they reach you, or is there a location they could go to find out more information?
Anyone here in New York City can certainly, or the greater New York area can certainly log on to KomenNYC.org.
Komen, Komen,
yes.
NYC.org.
Yes, that's our local website with local resources. And then anyone really anywhere in the world can log on to just Google Komen, and the first thing that pops up is the national website. And they should log on to there for answer all of your questions regarding breast cancer, what to do if you think you have breast cancer, or if you've been diagnosed or someone you know has been diagnosed. Tons of resources on the Komen website.
Wow, Linda Tantawi, thank you for coming by today.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it. And Kelly Kinkaid, thank you as well. They can reach you where?
On Twitter, Kelly Kinkaid, KellyKinkaid.
And we will be posting this on the site.
All this will be on swaysuniverse.com.
Great, thank you.
All right, ladies, thank you for coming by.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.